My parents shut me out of Thanksgiving but still expected $900 a month, so I cut them off, filed charges for vandalism, and refused them at my door without regret. I am a 29-year-old male working in software analysis. It is nothing fancy, but it pays the bills and lets me live on my own in a small apartment just outside of town. I have been out of the house since I was 21, and never really looked back. I have always been the guy who handled his stuff quietly, did not ask for handouts, did not need rescuing. Meanwhile, my younger sister, Vanessa, a 26-year-old female, has basically been living like a queen at home. She does not work a real job, says she is an artist, but the closest she has gotten to selling anything was when Mom bought one of her abstract pieces and hung it up in the dining room like it belonged in a museum. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Thanksgiving rolls around. I decide to make sweet potato casserole because my mom always says it is her favorite. I drove 35 minutes across town to my parents' house. I figured it would be the usual group, me, my parents, Vanessa, maybe a couple of cousins, or my aunt if she was not traveling. Nothing crazy. I pull into the driveway and notice a ton of cars, more than usual. There is clearly a full house. I figured maybe they invited extra folks this year or something. Still, I was in a good mood. The food smelled amazing and I was actually kind of excited to be there, which, looking back now, feels pretty dumb. I walk up to the porch, casserole in hand, and knock. I wait a few seconds, then knock again. The lights are on. I can hear music and laughter inside. Everything feels normal. Then the door opens and my dad is standing there. Now, my dad is not the warmest guy on a good day, but this look he gave me, pure confusion, like he had no clue what I was doing there. Before I can say anything, he goes, "What are you doing here?" I thought he was joking at first, so I kind of smiled and held up the casserole like, Thanksgiving? He did not laugh. He just looked uncomfortable, then rubbed the back of his neck and said, "I thought we told you it would just be a small gathering this year." I blinked. "What do you mean?" He mumbled something under his breath, something like, "Thought this was handled." Then said he would go get Mom. He did not even invite me in, just turned around and left me standing there on the porch. I shifted my weight a little, the foil on the casserole tray crinkling in my hands. It was still warm, but cooling fast. I stared at the front door like maybe someone else would come open it instead and say, "Sorry, that was a mistake, come on in." Instead, Mom came to the door. She opened it just wide enough for her body to block the inside view. I could still hear the clinking of silverware and someone laughing in the background. She gave me this tight, polite smile, the kind you give when someone knocks and you know you are not buying whatever they are selling. I did not even get a hi or a happy Thanksgiving. She just said, "Oh, I am sorry, Quentin. We do not have more seats. Maybe next year, okay?" I blinked, thought, maybe I misheard her. "What?" She repeated it slower, almost like she thought I was slow. "We do not have more seats." I looked past her shoulder. "You did not think I was coming?" "We assumed you had plans," she said like it made sense. "You usually keep to yourself." "What are you talking about? I texted you this morning." She blinked like that message had been erased from her brain. "Right, well, I did not think you would actually show." I looked past her into the house. People were sitting at the table laughing, plates full. There were definitely enough seats for more people. Heck, I saw a kid sitting on a booster seat at the end. And I am not invited. The same kid who has been covering half their bills for 3 years. I could not speak. I did not even know what to say. My mouth opened and closed a few times, but nothing came out. Finally, I just gave a nod, more to myself than them, and walked back to my car. I did not drop the casserole. I did not slam any doors. I just got in, set the dish on the passenger seat, and sat there for a few minutes, like I needed my brain to reboot. On the drive home, I kept thinking, maybe I misunderstood something. Maybe there was some miscommunication. Maybe this was not as messed up as it felt. But no, that was wishful thinking. It was exactly what it looked like. They had a full Thanksgiving dinner, invited everyone but me, and when I showed up, they acted like I was the guy who got the wrong address. I got home, reheated the casserole, and ate it alone on the couch. And let me tell you, it did not taste like victory. It tasted like being replaced. The next morning was weird. Not sad, weird, just off. I woke up later than usual, did not really feel like doing anything. My phone had no missed calls, no texts, not a single "hey, sorry about yesterday," or even one of those fake "hope you are doing okay" messages. Total silence, which made it worse in a way, like I was not even worth pretending to care about. I did not plan on talking to anyone that day, but my cousin Natalie surprised me. She knocked around noon with a bag of leftovers, and this look on her face like she already knew what happened. Nat is the kind of cousin who does not sugarcoat anything. She will call out a waiter for giving her the wrong side dish and will not blink. So, when she sat down and asked, "What the hell did they pull on you?" I knew she had heard something. I told her everything, did not even need to exaggerate, just laid it out. Natalie shook her head the whole time and kept muttering, "Unreal," like she was trying not to explode. Then she said something that stuck with me. She goes, They knew exactly what they were doing. That was not an accident, Q. That was a choice. And honestly, yeah, it hit me harder hearing it from her because deep down I already knew that. I wanted to believe it was some mix-up, like maybe they assumed I was going out of town or something. But no, they straight up did not want me there, and they did not even have the decency to say it in advance. They just let me drive over, knock on their door, and stand there like an idiot. Natalie also told me Vanessa had been going around saying things like, Quentin is always so distant and he probably would not even show up, which is wild considering I was the one who used to set reminders to please reply to family stuff, brought side dishes without being asked, and texted every birthday like clockwork. Meanwhile, Vanessa cannot be bothered to reply to a group message unless it is about her or includes emojis. Everything about Vanessa has always been treated like it is made of glass. When she failed 2 college classes, Mom said the professors did not nurture her properly. When she rear-ended someone last year, Dad blamed the sunlight. She gets babied for stuff I would have been grounded for. Meanwhile, I am the one who has been financially keeping things running for a while now. I have helped with utility bills. I have Venmo'd money for groceries. I even co-signed on a small loan so my parents could consolidate some debt. Never once made a big deal about it. I just figured that is what family does. Right now, I am seeing it a little clearer. I was not family, I was support. I was the guy they called when the car broke down or the fridge stopped working. Vanessa was the heart of the house, and I was the safety net they did not bother to thank. Natalie even said that at Thanksgiving she overheard Mom say, "We wanted to keep things peaceful this year. Peaceful, like I am the chaos. Like my presence would have somehow ruined dinner. I do not yell. I do not argue. The worst thing I do is ask questions when stuff does not make sense. But sure, blame me." That day, I just kind of sat in silence. Not even in a dramatic way, just quiet. I did not listen to music, did not watch TV. I just sat there looking at the cold casserole in the fridge that no one ate but me. It is funny how fast things start making sense when you stop trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. I started thinking about all the little moments I brushed off before. Like last Thanksgiving, I paid for most of the dinner, did not even think twice. Ordered a big smoked turkey, bought the side dishes, even brought extra Tupperware so Mom would not have to wash as many dishes. Then, when it came time for the family photo, they told me to take it, not be in it. Take it. Vanessa got center spot. Everyone gathered around her like she was the star of the show. I laughed it off back then, but looking at it now, yeah, that was a moment. There was also that time Dad needed a new water heater and I covered part of it. He said, "We will pay you back," but that never happened. Did not bother me much until I found out they got Vanessa a new iPad a month later to help her with digital art. She posted a selfie with it like it was some prize from the heavens. My name did not come up once. I do not think they hate me. That is not what this is. I think they just do not think about me unless there is a reason to. I am background noise. Useful but optional. Vanessa is the star, and I am the guy who shows up with the casserole and gets told to come back next year. I did not reach out after that, did not text them, did not call. I figured if they had something to say, they would say it, but I was not going to chase them, not this time. And honestly, that silence, it was loud. Not hearing from them said everything I needed to know. It was not a misunderstanding. It was not a mistake. It was them showing me where I stand. And now that I saw it clearly, I was not sure I wanted to go back. About a week passed after the Thanksgiving incident, and the radio silence from my parents continued. No texts, no calls, not even one of those awkward group chat. Hope everyone had a great holiday messages that parents love to send with 10 turkey emojis. I figured maybe they were feeling guilty or just avoiding the whole thing until it blew over. I was not in the mood to be the first one to reach out, so I just kept to myself and stayed quiet. I was not really stewing on it at that point. I kind of accepted it for what it was. Then one afternoon there was a knock on my door. I checked the peephole and nearly rolled my eyes into next week. It was my mom. No warning, no, "Hey, can I stop by?" Just standing there like she had not excluded me from Thanksgiving dinner like I was the weird neighbor kid. I opened the door, mostly out of curiosity, and stepped aside. She walked in with that same fake calm she always used when she wanted something. You know, the one super polite, a little too smiley, overly casual, like she was trying to act normal but overselling it. She sat down on my couch like it was still her house and gave me the fakest, "How are you, sweetheart?" I have ever heard. I did not even answer. I just sat across from her and waited after some forced small talk. "The weather has been strange lately, has not it?" She got to the point. "So about the $900? She said, like she was asking about a package that got delayed. For context, I have been giving my parents $900 a month for the past few years. It started when Dad had a health scare and missed a couple of months of work. They were struggling with bills, and I stepped in without even being asked. Just wired the money and told them not to worry. I figured it was temporary, but somehow, just until we get back on our feet, turned into me paying their rent, helping with car payments, and covering surprise emergency expenses that always seemed to show up at the most random times. They did not ask every month, but it was always implied. It got to the point where if I skipped a month, my mom would send me passive-aggressive texts about how tight things are and how some of us do not have the luxury of a steady income, as if I had not been working 50-plus hours a week just to stay ahead. I stared at her. What about it? She tilted her head like she did not understand my question. You did not send it this month. No joke. She said it like I had forgotten to take out the trash or something. Not like I had stopped sending almost $1,000 to two people who literally shut a door in my face the week before. I sat there pretty calm, honestly, and just said, "Yeah, I know." She blinked at me like that was not a valid answer. Well, why not? I raised my eyebrows. Because I do not have to anymore. That is when the smile cracked. Her face dropped for a second, then she tried to recover, but the energy shifted completely. Quentin, this is not something you can just stop doing. We rely on that money. Your father and I have bills. You know how tight things have been. I leaned back in my chair. Yeah, I do. I also know how tight it was for me last week when I stood on your porch with a casserole, and you both pretended I did not exist. She did not answer right away. Just kind of froze, then let out this breath like I was being overdramatic. That was not personal. We just had limited space. You had folding chairs stacked in the garage, I said. I counted 3 through the window. She did not deny it. She just looked annoyed that I had noticed. Then she switched tactics. Quentin, family helps each other. You are in a position to give. We are your parents. It is your responsibility. That word, responsibility, it lit something in me. I have never had a problem helping my family, but the way she said it, like I owed them, like I was just supposed to keep handing them money without a word, without question, that was different. That was not love. That was a transaction, and apparently, I was late on my payment. So I said it again, slower this time. I do not have to do it anymore, and I do not want to. She stood up, suddenly flustered. I cannot believe this. After everything we have done for you. I cut her off. Everything you have done for me? Mom, I moved out at 21. I have been paying my own bills since college. You have not supported me in years. Meanwhile, I have sent you thousands of dollars to cover everything from your mortgage to Dad's car insurance. She did not argue with that. Could not, because it was true. Then she tried guilt. Your father is going to be so upset. I shrugged. That is not my fault. She stared at me like she did not recognize me anymore, then said, "We are not done talking about this," and stormed out of the apartment. And just when I thought that was the end of it, 2 hours later, I hear a knock again. This time, it is not just her. It is her, my dad, and Vanessa. All 3 of them lined up like they are about to conduct a job interview. Dad has his serious face on, arms crossed like he is ready to lecture. Vanessa is scrolling on her phone like she is being forced to sit through a community college orientation. Before I can even say anything, my dad steps forward and says, "We need to understand why you are acting like this. What is going on with you?" I actually laughed. "You shut the door in my face last week and now you are confused about why I do not want to keep giving you money?" Vanessa did not even look up. She just mumbled, "This is so extra." That set me off. Extra. I have been paying for all of you to play house while I bust my behind every day, and I am the one being extra. Mom jumped in, trying to calm things down. "Quentin, we love you. We just think you are making a rash decision." Dad added, "You are part of this family and family does not walk away." I said, "No, family does not shut each other out, treat them like they do not matter, and then come knocking when the money stops." They tried to talk over me, but I had had enough. I pointed to the door. "You made it clear last week I was not part of the group, so go ask whoever got my seat at Thanksgiving to chip in $900. Nobody moved, so I walked over and opened the door. "Leave," I said. Now they did not move, just stood there blinking like the words did not compute. My mom was the first to break the silence. "Quentin, do not be ridiculous," she said, forcing a laugh like this was just a minor misunderstanding. "You cannot seriously mean that." "I do," I said, stepping back just enough to keep my hand on the doorknob. "You cannot do this to us," she said, her voice rising. "Watch me." Then I shut the door and did not look behind. 2 days later, I am working from home, actually making progress for once, and I start hearing this weird thud sound from outside. At first, I thought maybe it was the neighbor's kid bouncing a basketball or something, but it kept happening. Random thumps, like something soft hitting metal. I stood up, looked out my window, and I genuinely had to squint because I could not believe what I was seeing. My parents, my sister, in my parking lot, throwing eggs at my car. Real eggs, full cartons, splatting against the hood, the windshield, the driver's side door. Vanessa even launched one underhand like it was a game at a carnival booth. She was laughing. My dad was not even saying anything. He was just silently hurling them like he was back in Little League. And my mom, she was yelling loud stuff like, "Maybe now you will remember who your family is, and this is what happens when you turn your back on the people who raised you." I stood there completely stunned like this could not be real. These were people in their 50s and a grown woman acting like teenagers in a bad high school movie. I did not even rush outside, I just pulled out my phone and hit record. No yelling, no confrontation, just steady video footage of 3 people I am biologically related to committing what has to be the most childish act I have ever seen. After about 5 minutes of this mess, one of my neighbors, bless him, stepped outside and shouted, "Hey, I'm calling the police if you all do not leave." That got their attention. My mom yelled something back about minding his business, but they got in their car and drove off, like they had not just egged their own son's vehicle in broad daylight. Once they were gone, I walked outside to check the damage. The car looked like it had been in a bakery brawl, egg dripping down the side, bits of shells stuck to the windshield wipers. The smell was already turning. It was not just annoying, it was gross, the kind of thing that ruins your mood even more when you have to clean it up yourself. But I did not clean it, not right away. I had other plans. I went back inside, downloaded the footage, made a couple of copies, and then called the non-emergency police line. I explained everything, gave them my statement, and emailed them the video. The officer on the phone was professional, but I could tell from his tone that he thought it was ridiculous too. "You said this was your parents?" "Yes," I said. "I sure did." I also called my insurance just in case the paint got messed up from the eggs sitting too long. Then I called a detail shop and scheduled a full clean for the next morning. Cost me a decent chunk, but it was worth it. I kept the receipt. You will see why later. That night I got the text first from my mom. "What is wrong with you? We were expressing our frustration, not trying to hurt you. You are really going to go cry to the police over this?" Then Vanessa followed up with a classic. "You are such a drama queen. Nobody even scratched your stupid car." I did not respond. I just forwarded the text to the same officer who took my report. The next day, while my car was getting detailed, I got a call from a private number. I answered, and surprise, it was my dad. He did not waste time on small talk. He went straight to, "You need to drop this nonsense. You are taking things too far." I said, "You threw eggs at my car." He responded, "And you stopped paying us like we are strangers. That was disrespectful." I actually laughed. "You literally told me I was not welcome in the house. Which is it? Am I family or not?" He started getting loud, accusing me of being spiteful, cold, and turning my back on people who raised me. I told him, "Raising your kid does not come with a lifetime subscription to their bank account, and maybe you should have thought twice before treating me like a burden with a checkbook." Then came the final gem. He goes, "This is going to split the whole family apart." And I said, "You already did that the second you pretended I did not exist." Then I hung up. I did not hear from them again that day, but I knew it was not over. People like that do not back down. They regroup, then they come back louder, and sure enough, the next morning I got an email from their lawyer. Apparently, they had received notice of a complaint and wanted to resolve this matter informally, which basically meant, "Please do not press charges. Our pride cannot take it." So I wrote back, calm, short, and factual. I sent the bill for the car detailing, added an invoice for the ruined paint that the shop said might need touch-up work, and attached a copy of the footage again just for fun. I told them I was not dropping anything until I was reimbursed in full. That was the last I heard for about a week. Then, like magic, a check showed up in my mailbox. No note, no apology, just a payment and a signature. I cashed it and I smiled because at that point it was not about the money anymore. It was about making sure they knew loud and clear, I am not the guy you can treat like garbage and still expect to fund your lives. They drew the line at Thanksgiving. I drew mine right after the eggs hit my windshield. I figured paying for the damage might act as the weird wake-up call they clearly needed, like, "Hey, you cannot treat your adult kid like trash, vandalize his stuff, and then act surprised when there are consequences." But I forgot who I was dealing with. People like my parents and Vanessa do not really learn from anything. They just rewrite the story in their heads and keep going like they are the victims. The following week, I started noticing something new. I was not just being ignored anymore. Now, I was the villain. It started with a group text I'd been a part of forever. The extended family one. You know the type. Birthdays, holiday planning, occasional look at this funny meme moments. I had not said a word in it since before Thanksgiving, but suddenly it lit up with messages from Vanessa. She sent some vague stuff like, "It is just sad when family stops acting like family and money really does change people." She did not tag me directly, but come on, it was obvious. A few aunts chimed in with those half-sympathetic, half-passive-aggressive responses like, "I hope everyone finds peace soon and family is complicated, but we have to keep trying." I did not respond, did not even open the thread after that. Then I started getting individual texts from cousins. Some I had not talked to in months. A few were genuinely confused and just wanted to know what happened. I gave them the short version, got uninvited from Thanksgiving, stopped sending money, got egged. That usually shut them up pretty quick. Others came in swinging, like my cousin Blake, who texted me, "Dude, you really suing your parents over some eggs? Chill." To which I replied, tell them to chill next time they are at the grocery store loading up on ammo. But my personal favorite, Vanessa, she texted me a single message, a crying emoji. Not even words, just the emoji, like that was supposed to mean something. Like I would read that and go, oh no, she is sad. Time to Venmo the rent again. I did not respond. At this point, silence was doing all the talking I needed. And that silence, it drove them insane. You could tell they were waiting for me to pop off or lose it so they could be like, see, he is the problem. But I was not playing that game anymore. The messages kept coming. My mom tried calling a few times, left voicemails that started nice and ended snappy. One went, hi sweetie, just wondering if you would reconsider, and ended with, I hope you realize what this is doing to your father's health. Vanessa's was just her usual sarcasm masked as deep thoughts. We all make mistakes, but it takes a bigger person to forgive. Guess you are not there yet, right? Because I am the one who needs forgiving after getting pelted with eggs like a prank show reject? Then came the classic guilt maneuver. My dad emailed me, not called, emailed. This long, rambling thing about how the stress from all of this had been affecting him physically, that his sleep was off, his appetite was gone, and that my actions were creating a rift that might never heal. He also mentioned, word for word, at some point you will regret pushing your family away. Cool. The man who stood behind my mom while she told me I was not invited to dinner is now concerned about rifts. Still, I said nothing. I did not want to give them the satisfaction of thinking I was still stuck in it with them. I was out. I was doing my laundry in peace, working without interruption, cooking real meals instead of stress snacking at midnight. I was going for walks again. Little stuff that sounds boring but felt like I finally had mental breathing room. And the longer I stayed quiet, the louder they got. They started involving other people. My aunt on my dad's side randomly sent me a voice message about how family is forever and that money is not worth cutting ties over. Another cousin direct messaged me on Instagram to say, do not let pride ruin everything. I had not posted anything about what happened, so it was clear the family gossip machine was running full speed, and they were only getting my parents' side of it. Probably a story where I turned into some greedy, ungrateful kid who stopped paying support out of nowhere. It was kind of amazing to watch. No one wanted to talk about the part where they kicked me off the guest list. No one asked if I was okay. It was all about them, their stress, their disappointment, their image. I was just the villain in the group chat now, the ungrateful son who went rogue. I started muting people. Not blocking, just muting. It was better than engaging. I was not going to explain myself to people who were not there and did not bother asking what really happened. And even if they had, I would not have wasted the breath because here is the thing. I am not ashamed of what I did. Not one bit. I stopped paying people who treated me like a walking bank account and acted shocked when the ATM started charging interest. And honestly, it was kind of freeing. Every time I saw a new message pop up that I did not feel the need to answer, that was a small win. Every missed call I ignored without guilt. Victory. I did not owe them my energy anymore, not after everything. They thought the eggs would be the end of it, that I would come crawling back once the shock wore off. What they did not realize is that I was not angry. I was done. And there is a big difference between the two. Angry people come back to argue. Done people walk away and do not look back. It has been about 5 months since everything went down. And life, honestly, it has been peaceful. Like, stupidly peaceful. I did not realize how loud everything used to be until it all stopped. The weight of being the default fixer in the family is gone. Just gone. It has been nice, uneventful in the best possible way. So, imagine my surprise when I heard a knock at the door last week. Not a quick one, not like the Amazon guy or a neighbor with a question. This was the kind of knock that lets you know someone is standing out there waiting for a response. Like they are not going anywhere until the door opens. I got up from the couch expecting I do not even know what. Certainly not what I found. I opened the door, and there they were. My mom, my dad, and Vanessa standing on my porch with suitcases. Real suitcases, like full-on rolling luggage. My mom was holding this beat-up tote bag and had that strange smile she gets when she is trying to act like she is not desperate. Dad looked exhausted, dark circles, unshaven, the works. And Vanessa, hoodie, messy bun, chewing gum, like we just interrupted her spa day instead of her dragging a suitcase up to my door. Quentin, my mom started, and I already knew this was about to be something. We have had a rough few weeks, she said, her voice dropping into that dramatic tone she used to use whenever the cable bill was late. There have been some issues with the house and rent. Your father's hours got cut. Vanessa's job situation is, well, still, she trailed off. Anyway, we need a place to stay just for a little while. She said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. Like after 5 months of total silence, after vandalizing my car, after treating me like a stranger at Thanksgiving, now they expected me to offer them a room and a warm welcome. I looked at them, at the actual luggage they had the nerve to bring, and the only thing I could think about was that cold November day on their porch being told, "We do not have more seats, maybe next year." Except this time I was the one on the inside, and they were the ones left in the cold. My dad stepped forward. "We just need a few weeks, just until we figure things out. We can sleep on the couch if we have to." Vanessa finally looked up and mumbled, "Yeah, like 2 weeks max. 2 weeks from the girl who has not held a job longer than a pop-up sale." My hands were on the door. I did not yell. I did not make a speech. I just said, "Yeah, no." Mom blinked, confused. "What? You are not staying here." My dad furrowed his brow. "Come on, Quentin, we are family." That line again. Family only used when it benefits them, never when it means actually showing up for someone else. I leaned slightly into the doorway. Funny, because when I showed up 5 months ago, I was told there were not enough chairs. Remember that? They did not answer. Vanessa sighed and muttered, "Are you really still mad about that?" I laughed. Not loud, not fake, just an honest laugh that came from somewhere deep in my chest. "No, Vanessa, I am not mad, I am just done." Mom looked like she was about to cry. "Quentin, please, we have nowhere else to go." I shrugged. "That sounds like something to figure out, but not here." Dad tried again. "Just a few nights." "I do not have room," I said. "We will sleep on the floor." I nodded. "Yeah, I did that metaphorically for years while you treated me like an outsider. Now I have upgraded to sleeping in peace." They stood there. Just stood there. No plan B, no backup idea, just blind hope that I would fold like always. That I would say, "Of course, come on in, make yourselves at home." They genuinely believed showing up with a couple of bags would erase everything. The entitlement did not even feel intentional anymore. It was just ingrained, like they truly could not imagine a version of reality where I would say no. I gave them one last look, no anger, no pity, just clarity. Then I said, "I hope you figure things out," and I shut the door, did not slam it, did not lock it dramatically, just closed it quietly, the way they closed theirs on me. I watched through the peephole for a second. They stood there for a minute, not moving, probably waiting for the door to open again. When it did not, they turned and walked back to the curb, dragging their bags behind them. Vanessa was already back on her phone. I went back to the couch, picked up where I left off in my book. The house was quiet again. Later that night, I got a text from an unknown number. It was probably Vanessa. All it said was, "You will regret this." I did not reply. I just deleted it, then set my phone down, looked around my little apartment and exhaled.